Hey everyone, I hope you had a good break. Um, I'm happy you stayed around to learn about how we can talk about a Green New Deal now that we have all this great information about it. Hey everyone in the chat, it's nice to see you. It is a lovely day indeed. Yeah, and we're just gonna hop right into it. I know I introduced myself up at the top of this training, just want to do it again because it's been a while. So my name is Ed and I use he him pronouns. I'm a senior in high school in West Philly. I'm in New Jersey right now and the sun is shining on the trees. It's really great. And yeah, something I do in Sunrise is try to change or create a new common sense about how we should be talking with each other. And I want to get to know you. So drop in the chat. Let me know something you like to spend your free time doing that isn't climate or activism related. I want to know what people like to do. Running, yoga, reading, Netflix. That's great. I guess you can watch all these things on Netflix. So maybe it's the best. I don't know. Play sax. Great. Well, yeah, thank you all for sharing. We're going to go ahead and get started. Nice. So the three main goals that I have for this training are to introduce the strategy of inquiry-based conversations to help you rethink what makes a conversation effective and to motivate you to have these inquiry-based conversations in your communities. And so we're going to dive right away into a particular point. We're going to address it later on as well, but want to bring it up now because it's so important. Giving people facts is an ineffective strategy for changing minds. I know we just spent 2 hours together learning a bunch of facts, and that's amazing. Knowing facts is super helpful. Telling facts at people in the hopes of changing their minds about a pre-held belief is not useful. So I'm going to explain that. I'm not going to explain that now. I just want you to keep that in mind as we move through the training. And so to start off, Grayson and I are actually going to have a model conversation. The setting we're going to be in is I'm sitting with Grayson at my lunch table, and I start a conversation to get Grayson to come to my Green New Deal teach-in on June 5th so that they can learn more about the bold climate action that we need. And as Grayson and I start chatting, I'd like everyone to reflect on the questions that are about to pop up on the screen. We have, how do I interact with Grayson? How does Grayson feel during the conversation? And what surprises you in the conversation? At the end, I'm going to ask for folks to share their thoughts. But for now, or actually, wait, real quick, can you drop a star in the chat or an asterisk, shift 8, if you can commit to reflecting on these questions while Grayson and I chat? Nice. Thanks, y'all. Cool. So yeah, I think Grayson and I are going to get started. Grayson, let me know when you can turn on your mic.
Yeah, I'm ready.
Let's go. Okay. Hi, Grayson. Can I talk to you for a second?
Yeah, what's up, Ed?
Well, yeah, I just wanted to talk to you about something really important to me. Have I told you that I do a lot of volunteer work with the Sunrise Movement?
No, you haven't.
Gotcha. Okay. Well, I actually spend a lot of my time working with Sunrise. And yeah, it's a nationwide movement that seeks to end the climate crisis and create millions of good jobs in the process. And I got involved after Hurricane Isaias. I saw people's lives be taken just because fossil fuel billionaires wanted more money. And Sunrise, we helped to change that. And so next week, I'm going to hold a 2-hour presentation with Sunrise about the Green New Deal. Have you ever heard anything about the Green New Deal before?
Yeah, I have.
Gotcha. And what have you heard?
Well, to be honest with you, Ed, I've heard that it's super unrealistic and a pipe dream.
A pipe dream. Gotcha. Can you say more?
Yeah, I mean, it seems like politicians who want universal health care and a jobs guarantee are using climate change to just get their socialist agenda passed. But honestly, the main reason it's unrealistic is because it costs $93 trillion.
Wow. Okay. Thanks for being so honest with me, Grayson. So it's like politicians are using a Green New Deal to pass a socialist agenda, but the main reason you don't like it is because it's going to cost 93 trillion. Do I understand?
Yeah, exactly. There's no way they can tax enough money to fund that. And even if they could, they shouldn't. Where are they going to get the money?
Get the money. Okay. Well, yeah, Grayson, this might be a weird question, but if the Green New Deal didn't cost anything, if it was free, do you think you would support it any more than you do?
I don't think so.
You don't think so? What makes you say that?
Well, I don't want people to lose their jobs. I heard the Green New Deal would close all coal mines in the country. My dad used to be a coal miner. I know coal miners are good people, and it's unfair that their jobs would be taken away.
Unfair. Yeah, okay. So the main reason you don't support a Green New Deal is because people like your dad would lose their jobs. Is that right?
Yeah,
Okay. Well, Grayson, it sounds to me like you really care about people getting paid so that they can live a good life and care for their families. Is that right?
yeah, no, completely.
That makes sense. That makes sense. Yeah, I would say family is really important to me too. My sister and I are close. What's your dad like?
Oh, he's awesome. He comes to all of my soccer games, like no matter what.
Wow, that's awesome. Um, well, yeah, from my perspective, there are people who, yeah, don't care about workers in the fossil fuel industry and don't think of how shutting down mines and plants will affect those workers' families and lives. I think those people are making a big mistake. Is there any way you think we could close coal mines and make sure coal miners still have jobs?
Well, you said the Green New Deal would create millions of jobs, right?
Yeah,
Well, then I guess we could give coal miners some of those new jobs, but I don't know if that's what the coal miners want.
yeah. There's a lot I don't know about coal mining jobs too, and what they want. But yeah, I'm wondering, what do you think would be a reason that some coal miners would be okay with getting a new job?
I don't know. Maybe if the jobs paid more and had better benefits, and if there was like on the job training.
Gotcha.
But I know some people won't want to change because they like their job too.
That sounds right. That sounds right. So if I understand, at the beginning of our conversation, you thought that the Green New Deal was like a method for politicians to pass a socialist agenda and that it would harm people, coal miners like your dad. And then we talked about, how a Green New Deal will create jobs that coal miners can transition into. And, if these new jobs paid well and had good benefits, some of the coal miners might want to make that transition. Did I miss anything?
No, that sounds right.
Okay. Well, yeah. What do you think about a Green New Deal now?
I'm not sure. It sounds like it could help a lot of people and save lives, but it would be a really large change that not everyone will be on board with.
Large change. Large change. Well, yeah, I think you actually hit the nail right on the head. I really appreciate you for sharing all this with me. And yeah, I heard that you think the Green New Deal could help a lot of people. So would you be down to come to the presentation we're holding next week? It's online from 5 to 7 on Tuesday.
I'm not sure. I'll have to think about it more. Can I get back to you on this in a couple of days?
That sounds good. And scene. Wow. Wow. Clap it up for Grayson. Killing it every day of the week. Um, every day of the week. Okay. I don't think I forgot. I saw those stars in the chat. So I need y'all to reflect with me. How did you notice I acted in the conversation? Throw it in the chat, a few words. Receptive, summarizing, acknowledge, also fast. Open. You tried to repeat what they said. Calm, understanding, open, receptive. Wow. Okay, great, amazing. Next question. How did Grayson feel during the conversation? Probably felt a lot of different, or they probably felt a lot of different ways. Thank you for correcting me in the chat there, Kate, the cat. Uncertain, confused, apprehensive, heard, Grayson. Yeah, getting more personal. Yeah, thank you so much. And what surprised you in the conversation? Slightly defensive. What surprised you? Did not hang up. Well, we were in person this time. Maybe they would have hung up if we were on the phone. I loved when you asked how coal mining jobs. Cool. Great. All righty. Then thank you so much for sharing. I think we can move on to the rest of the training. Sick. So before we dive in deep to some of these skills, I want to acknowledge and recognize where this research came from. So this comes from a book called How to Have Impossible Conversations, written by Peter Boghossian and James Lindsay. This book goes into great detail about how to have persuasive conversations. And the material we're going to go over is sourced from just the first couple of chapters. we highly recommend that you read this resource in its entirety. So up on the slides is a list of principles we're going to dive into today. And first, let's go over a more detailed definition of what an inquiry-based conversation is. Cool. So an inquiry-based conversation is one where we use questions and listening to understand our conversation partners for a specific goal. And I'll say that again because it's kind of complicated. An inquiry-based conversation is one where we use questions and listening to understand our conversation partners for a specific goal. And yeah, our first principle that we're going to go over today is setting your goals. So when we set goals for our conversations, the path they should take becomes clearer. Without setting goals, we might inadvertently work against ourselves or harm our relationships with our conversation partners in our conversations. Yeah, so having inquiry-based conversations without goals is like driving a car with a muddy windshield. You know, we can try to use our windshield wipers mid-conversation to help us see, but our path to good conversations will be most clear if we take the time to wipe off our windshield before we even start driving, right? So before we start, we should think through what we hope to accomplish. In my example conversation with Grayson, my goal was to get them to join my hub's teaching, and that was really clear for me. But once we have our goals, how do we start our conversation? Great, we start by creating connections and empathy. Okay, we're gonna do a fun exercise. So I need everyone to close your eyes with me and imagine you're sitting across or standing across from someone that you are frustrated with. Maybe you just got into an argument with them earlier today, or maybe you disagree with them on a really big issue. Either way, imagine you're standing less than an arm's length away from them. You can see the wrinkles in their face. You can see the wrinkles on their clothes. And if you feel kind of frustrated, I want you to realize, where does that manifest in your body? For me, it's my chest. I want that to sit. And now I want you to imagine that you're holding hands with that person. You can open your eyes now. So many of us may have noticed some of that anger and tension be released, right? Either way, what we're trying to demonstrate here is that creating connections with our conversation partners allows us to create a trusting and empathetic and open environment that we need in order to help people to change their minds and their behaviors. Cool. So how can we go about creating connections in a more intentional way? So we can ask sincere, open-ended questions to show we're interested in our conversation partner as a person. We could also be polite by using please, thank you, I appreciate that, and being patient as they work to process their thoughts and feelings. No rush. And we can find things that we have in common with each other. Maybe you both have kids, maybe both are kids. So yeah, I'm wondering if people can throw in the chat, when did you see me connect and empathize with Grayson in our conversation? Talking about family. Yeah, Kat. Closest, yeah. People losing their jobs. Not rushing. That's great. Cool. Well, yeah, thank you for those thoughts. And so after we set goals and create connections, it's time to turn our listening powers to 100. All right, this is a quote directly from the book, How to Have Impossible Conversations. If you don't listen, you can't understand. And if you cannot understand, there's no conversation. It's so important. I'll say it again. If you don't listen, you can't understand. If you can't understand, there's no conversation. All right, we're going to do another exercise here. Get ready to type in the chat. So I'm going to give 2 scenarios, and I want to know which you would prefer to be in. So drop a 1 if you would prefer to be in this scenario, then I'll say the second one. First scenario, you're sitting on a couch with your friend, and you're both on your phones. They look up at their phone, look at you, and say, hey, the climate crisis is real, and you need to become vegan. That's scenario 1. Scenario 2, you're looking at your phones. They look up and say, what do you think we should do to combat the climate crisis? Which scenario would you prefer to be in? Can we get a 1? Would anyone prefer to be in the first scenario? Joshua, John, okay. Yeah, well, the reason that there are more 2s than 1s generally is because, you know, people are deeply satisfied when they're understood, and we don't like to be lectured. And by coming at people with facts and explanations, we could cause our conversation partners to disagree with us even more due to something called the backfire effect. If I had started with my conversation with Grayson with facts about why they should already support the Green New Deal, they would have become defensive and probably dug their heels into the belief that the Green New Deal is unfair for coal mining families even more. And so I would have been locking the door to empathy and belief reconsideration instead of opening the door, which is what I did, thankfully. And so, yeah, how can we do this? So we come to understand our conversation partners first by asking open-ended questions that allow them to talk at length about their beliefs. So asking questions that start with what or how will help us avoid asking yes or no questions, because we really want people to talk at length about what they believe. The next step to understanding folks is to listen and show them that we're listening, right? To do this, we can use short encouragers like, yeah, I gotcha, when they finish talking, or even use the extremely effective I hear you. And lastly, some people notice this, I saw in the chat, we can repeat back what our conversation partner said and ask them if we could understand them fully. Yeah, so I'm wondering in the chat again, like what were some questions that I asked Grayson in our conversation? Can you tell me more about that? That's a classic. That's a classic. Did I understand? Putting the burden of understanding on me so they don't feel the pressure to like explain everything perfectly. What do you think? Wow. Nice. Cool. And then, yeah, keep those coming. Keep those coming. And maybe what were some ways that I showed Grayson I was listening to them? Repeating back, yeah. Repeating what they said. Gotcha. Cool. Thanks for sharing those thoughts. We're going to go to principle number 4. All right. Last principle, end on a high note. Okay, this is going to be fun too. Everyone needs a pen and paper. I'm going to read off a list of words from my notes, and then I'm going to set a timer for 30 seconds. Your task is to remember as many words as possible. And then in that 30 seconds, so I'll say a list of words, no pen and paper. When I finish the list of words, I'll set a 30-second timer and we'll see how many words you can remember. Okay. Yeah, get your pen and paper. We can go to the next slide and then we can get started. All right, I hope you have it ready. This is gonna be fast. You will have an opportunity to show your skills in the chat. Okay, here, ready? Blue, cat, bag, dam, dog, tree, night, glasses, water, book, seal, time, bot, chef, candy, hat, hand, fall, face, post, wind, pick, flame. 30 seconds. Oh, I'm sorry if you couldn't hear the audio. 20, 22 seconds, 21. I should have got the Jeopardy music, but I can sing it. That would probably make it harder for you. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Pencils down. Okay, great. All right. Here comes the true moment. So I'm gonna say 3 words 3 times, and then you tell me how many of these words you got. Right. So out of blue, cat, and bag, how many did you get? It could be 0, 1, 2, 3, or you could just type them all out. That's good too. Or yeah, go ahead and put the number first though, and I can look back later. 2, 3, 2. 1. Oh, Isabel got all of them. Nice. Okay. For the sake of time, gotcha. Let's see. How many of these did you get? Water, book, seal. 0, 1, 2, 3. 0. Got a 2. Wow. Someone 3. Holy. None. Yes, Timothy. I would. Yeah, I think I also got none the first time. Okay. Last batch. Wind, pick, flame. How many did you get? 2, 3, 2. Cool. Alrighty. Yeah. Keep putting them in the chat. So yeah, if you didn't catch on, blue, cat, and bag were the first 3 words. Water, book, seal, they were kind of in the middle. and win, pick, and flame were at the end. So this is trying to demonstrate that as humans, we tend to remember the beginning and end of events more strongly than the middle. So if we want our conversation partners to positively consider our ask of them to take action, or if we want to change their beliefs, we need them to associate us in our conversation with positive feelings, or at least it would help. It's not always necessary. And so that means we have to be prepared to end the conversation on a high note. So if you're talking in circles with your conversation partner, ending the conversation there would be great. If neither of you have anything left to say, ending the conversation right there would be great. And yeah, a great way to end a conversation is with a smile and an elbow bump. Also, if your conversation partner wants to end for any reason, let them, right? And yeah, we can just end by thanking them for chatting, and we can go on with the rest of our days. Cool. So yeah, it's also important for us to remember that people need time to tackle new concepts, and so do we, right? We're not going to make our conversation partner agree with us about everything or convince them to put all their time into a Green New Deal just in one conversation, right? And we probably shouldn't do those things even if we could. So if we can leave a pebble in people's shoes that make them think more about our conversation later in the day, that's a win, right? People will be less likely to think back on our conversation positively if we end on a bad note with anger or contempt. So yeah, ending conversations with a smile, elbow bump, Zoom high five, I guess nowadays, that's chilling. That's great. So yeah, now, actually, I just want to do a gauge. Can you throw an exclamation point in the chat if you're having a good time, if you're enjoying what we're learning today? Thanks, Kat. Appreciate you. Great. That's good. All right. So now I want us to reflect on like where we can use these conversations, right? Because yeah, now we kind of know what's up. Might be a little scary at this point, trying to have these types of conversations. But yeah, go ahead, throw in the chat. Where could you have some of these types of conversations? Everyday life. Yeah, work. Devin, could you get a little more specific than work? Like who might we have these with as well? That'd be great. With friends, family. Gotcha. Classroom, coworkers, friends, family. Yeah. Neighbors. Marissa, let's go. Thank you for naming Marissa. Marissa, I expect Marissa to get talked up soon or listened to soon. More like, yeah, that's better. Okay. Well, yeah, thanks for sharing. Some of the places that I think y'all hit on these already, talking with family members when we're hanging out with friends or recruiting to the teach-ins. And yeah, even when we're at gatherings or hanging out with friends, these kind of type of one-on-one conversations are really where we want to have them one-on-one. Okay. Well, thank you so much for sharing that. Yeah, well, now we're just going to go over some next steps. So yeah, we have a feedback form for this mini training as well as the broader training, because this is the first time that this mini training has gone on. And we really want you to, we really want to make it better for next time. So if you could please take 5 minutes to fill that out, that'd be great. Yeah, and then we really want you to get the practice of having an inquiry-based conversation about the Green New Deal with someone you know. So that way you can then recruit friends to participate in the June 5th and 6th teach-in and to other stuff that's happening in your hub, or just to persuade them about a Green New Deal. And then we'd also love you to read How to Have Impossible Conversations to really get into like some more tips. It's yeah, I think the subtitle is a very practical guide. It's a very practical guide, directly applicable. Okay, can you drop a plus in the chat if you're excited about some of these next steps? Sick. Cool. Well, thanks, y'all. Now I'm going to pass it over to Josiah to close out the call.
Wow, that was a wonderful and essential mini training from Ed. Really appreciate it. It's especially important if we want to strengthen and solidify support for the Green New Deal as we move forward in this campaign. Once again, everybody, thank you for being here and staying on. I know I've had a wonderful time being in community with all of you at today's teach-in. Just to reiterate a couple of things, don't forget the feedback forms, invite, a friend or a few and family to the next training or to the next teach-in, which will include a training. And, call your members of Congress, drink water, take a deep breath, say I love you to somebody, stay in community, and have happy feelings and a beautiful day and remainder of the next week. Love y'all, and I can't wait to see y'all again.